Hey, what's going on, everyone? NoZoupForYou here, and I'm showing you some gameplay provided by Freelancer Inc. today. He's obviously in a Z52, you can see that right now. But one of the reasons I wanted to highlight this video is I don't see a lot of videos revolving around the Z52 come my way. In fact, I feel out of all the destroyers at tier 10, Z52 seems to kind of have just been left in the dust. It's like the world has passed the Z52 by. Does this mean that it's a bad destroyer? Absolutely not. The Z52 is actually a pretty good destroyer, but it's somewhat been power creeped, and there's just a lot of better ships out there and a lot of better tier 10 destroyers. That doesn't mean you can't have a good round in it, and Freelancer here is using it in a round of clan gameplay and has used it to good effect. So I wanted to highlight this video, I wanted to show it to you all, and let you know that the Z52 is still viable in the hands of the right player, and I think we've got the right player right here. So this is going to play in the background, and I'm going to talk about the main topic of this video, but I'm also going to be kind of commentating on this gameplay here and there, and when I'm done talking about what I want to talk about. And also, real quick, I just want to give a shout out to some new Patreons, Jason, Spec V, and Mr. Coy. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all pledging and joining the Zoop group, and you know, I really do appreciate all of you that have joined the Patreon in this short time that it's been around. You know, you guys rock. You guys really, really rock. So thank you, and you know, there's your quick shout out, and you guys are awesome. So, topic of today's video, though, unless you've been under a rock, which certainly most of you probably have not been under a rock, the Russian cruiser line is getting somewhat of a redo. Not only are they moving ships around, but they are splitting the line. And for those of you who are in the know, you probably know this is going on already. You've seen the news about it. I wanted to kind of sit on it, wait a little bit, because everybody's rushed to put stuff out there regarding it. I just didn't have time to rush to put stuff out there. I've been tending to my wife, who is getting worse. These twins are really taking up a lot of room in her, and she can barely walk at this point. Her legs have swollen up so large. Her feet look like giant sausages. She's just really, really miserable right now. And fortunately, she didn't hear me say that, but she would agree. She would agree. She knows that her legs are quite large, and she can barely bend them. So I'm pretty much her sole caretaker, getting her out of bed and into bed and out of her seats and everything else, and it just really sucks. It's not fun at all. These 2 weeks can't go fast enough, but it's also eating up my time preparing for the arrival of our 2 children, and this looks good right here. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. Down goes one ship right there. That was a beautiful torp salvo right there. Just absolutely gorgeous, taking out that Stalingrad. And I might say also, I do enjoy this video because there is a lot of anti-Russian bias in this video. He made short work of that Stalingrad. It's not going to be the first and only, well, I should say it's not going to be the last and only ship that he takes advantage of in the Russian nationality. He goes after quite a few of them. So, all right, continuing on about this cruiser split. You know, I'm just going to go really quickly through the split and what's happening. And I know it's been covered already, probably 7 ways to Sunday. But starting with the shores, your tier 7, 8, 9, and 10 are going to go like this. You've got Shores, Chapayev, Dmitry Donskoy, and Alexander Nevsky. Moskva is being moved to the premium side of things. So no longer will the Moskva be your tier 10 heavy. Moskva is getting removed from the tech tree line. Also, tier 5, Kirov is being removed as well. That's going to be a premium ship, and it's replaced by the Kotovsky. Now, I brought up tier 7 because that's where the split happens. So, at tier 8, on the split side of things, you've got the Talon, you've got the tier 9 Riga, and the tier 10 Petropavlovsk. I think I pronounced that as close as I possibly can to what it is. You know, these Russian names get a little tough to pronounce. This is where it's good to listen to the actual devs talk about the ships, because being in Russia, they can pronounce them perfectly. But that's your split right there. Shores, Chapayev, Dmitry Donskoy, then the Alexander Nevsky. And then on the other side of things, you've got the Talon, the Riga, and the Petropavlovsk. And I'll go into details a little more about the characteristics of these ships and the Kotovsky at Tier 5. But I just want to tell you the split's coming. And, you know, and there he goes. There he goes right now, sinking another ship. Took out a destroyer right there. 2 ships taken out. You know, he's on a roll right now. He's on a roll. He's doing really, really good, especially in a Z52. But the point of this video is not about the cruiser split. It's about the split in general and what this means for World of Warships. And you know, as nice as it is that we're getting new ships in a split, I personally am a little disappointed that we're seeing it in the way of a Russian cruiser split. And I do have fears, given what's happened in the past, that the ships that we do see are going to be a little bit biased. I'm hoping this isn't the case. I'm hoping they're not going to be super strong, or, you know, ships along the lines of the Stalingrad and the Smolensk and the Kremlin. I really hope they're not, because we've had enough Russian bias. I really hope they're more even keeled. But I'm hoping that this is showing more splits to come. And you know, I've been a proponent from day one of splitting the USN battleship line. Honestly, I wish that's what they went with first. I wish that was the first thing they did, but unfortunately it's not. They went with Russian ships, and for what reason, I don't know why. Well, maybe because, you know, there are a lot of players in Russia, and, you know, I'm kind of intrigued by what made this split come about as well. I mean, it's not like a lot of these Russian ships are real or existed, or maybe they are. I don't know. I just have the assumption that the majority of Russian ships are all paper. I mean, there's plenty of ship lines out there that you could do a split with actual real ships. You know, USN battleships. Again, you know, you could have split with the California, worked your way up, and have ships like the Washington at Tier 8. Tier 9, you could totally put, you know, another Iowa in there, like the New Jersey or Wisconsin, which a lot of people want to see. And, you know, I told you that he was going to pick on more Russian ships, and he's starting to pick on this Kremlin right now, torping it and now trying to set it on fire. And he's done a really good job between setting ships on fire, flooding them, you know, just multiple damage sources here, which is what you want to do. I mean, this is just really, really smart on his part. Freelancer's just, you know, taking this game in his own hand, and I mean, he's already cruised past the 130,000 damage point, and he's about to get some more on this Kremlin right now. And we all know how tough the Kremlins are to sink. But yeah, we totally could have had, you know, or have another Iowa class at Tier 9, make it secondary focused. You know, I'd love to see New Jersey or Wisconsin. And then at Tier 10, you could have done something similar to Georgia. I mean, there are plenty of options out there. Or you could have even, you know, put West Virginia in there at Tier 8 somehow, made the Washington a Tier 9 heavy secondary ship, make it a little better than the North Carolina, and then make the New Jersey a secondary laden battleship at Tier 10. I mean, there are things you could do. And there are plenty of ships in the USN battleship line that have not made it to the game yet. Same goes for destroyers. USN destroyers, you could definitely have a split. I'd love to see a USN destroyer split. You know, split between your torp boats and your gunboats. I mean, the USN needs gunboats that can compete with the likes of Haragumo and the Japanese boats that have come, the destroyers that have just power creeped them. British, we're getting the Royal Navy heavy split. That's awesome. So these tech tree splits are coming, and I think this is going to be the trend from now on. I think, and there's another torpedo right there. I think we're going to see a lot more of these in the near future. And by near future, I mean the next year. I really do think that, well, I don't want to say the game's dying, but and we're not in the end game of it either, but I do think, you know, we're going to see a huge ramp up in content production, and then we're going to see it kind of ebb off. Not in the coming years, but, you know, maybe the 3 or 4 year time frame. And that's at least what I envision and think that they would be doing. It might not be the case. It might not be the case. They might keep things going strong for a while, and I hope they do. I hope this game lasts a decade and keeps the numbers up for a decade. And numbers have been somewhat strong right now, and I'll go further into the numbers at some point. And, you know, Freelancer's going after this Kremlin. He's not going to let him escape. He's closing in on 200,000 damage. It's still a pretty close game right now. They have the point advantage and the ship advantage for now, so Freelancer just wants to put this in the bag in this round and call it a day. But yeah, you know, the Russian cruiser split, a little interested why they went with that split over the other ones they could have done. You know, they've got British coming out. You could even do aircraft carrier splits. I mean, there's plenty of aircraft carriers I'd love to see out there, even though I know people aren't the biggest fans of carriers right now. So there's a lot that can be done with these splits. And in a way, this is good that these splits are happening, because there are a ton more ships out there, and this gives a way to add them. I mean, I still want USS Johnston in the game somehow. But overall, I just really hope that the Russian split, they aren't. Ooh. Look at this. Dead to rights, he's got that Kremlin. Completely stopped, but he's also shown himself right now, and that's dangerous, and he can't quite take out the Kremlin right there. But Kremlin has nowhere to go, and guess who had more torps come online just now? So he's going to get those out. They're off. They're away. And he's got 672 hit points left. If he doesn't get out there, he's going to be sunk. And it's still a very, very close game. But he has got behind terrain. Those torps are going to find their mark. And that's going to end this round. Beautiful round by Freelancer. Thank you for sending this video. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.